What's up, everybody? Today, I'm going to run you through the absolute beginner's basics for bunkers. And as you see, I'm really kitted out with this, but this is all looted items. So where you're going to want to start with is if you're on a station like Arc L1, Mic L1, Crew L1, and other stations, even like Seraphim and a couple of others, and Bajini, they might have something called live fire weapons. That is a good place to start for your weapons. And your loadout, as you go along, we'll find that in time. You'll find your preferred weaponry. Now, what I would recommend as a starter is this here, the P4AR, as just absolute bare bones basics. And then this is my throwaway rifle as well. If I know I might be doing something where I might get into trouble or whatever, this is my go-to. And things like your compensator, definitely at some point in time you want to put a sight on it so it makes it a little easier to see. But there's different kinds. There's like your shotgun. Here's a submachine gun. There are, like I say, sniper rifles like what I have on my back here. And those are drop only, which unfortunately you're stuck with. There's anti-vehicle weapons and stuff as well. So you could, as in usual starcitizen fashion, you could go here and you could go buy, or you could come down here to the kiosk, and once it populates, you see you have all of your different ammo, your different attachments. Each gun shop will have a slightly different loadout, or slightly different options, more or less. But every gun shop, even stations and planets, like if you're on planet side, like in ArcCorp, it's Cubby Blast. If it's on Orison, there's a couple of other little things, but you'll discover those as you go along. But basically, even like wherever you get mining equipment too, they'll have at least, or at the very least, a P4 and P4 ammo magazine, P4 AR magazines, which is what you need. So then, what you end up having to do. Wait, before we go much further, at the very least, you want to make sure that you have a med pen. There are not a couple of them. There is also med guns, which I'll get to in a little bit. And then, I want to carry a couple of bottles of water with you, and you want to carry a couple of extra, like a few more magazines of ammo as well with you. So then now, the reason why I like a station like Arc L1 is if you're an absolute newbie, first time doing it, you want to go into the armor shop here as well. I'm not too sure what this armor shop is called. But again, you could kind of see some of the armor here. And then again, you could, hold F and buy, or you can come on down over here to the shop terminals. And the key thing with armor is if you're wearing light armor, like see for backpack, for example, it's a light backpack, core compatibility, all. So this can go on anything, but it has the smallest carrying capacity. Then you got this one here that can hold 70, basically about 70% of an SCU. You need a medium or heavy core. And so now when you come down here, your cores, you got your light armor here. So that means you can carry like light armor stuff. And with light armor, it's generally less ammo you can carry, less attachments, but you're faster at the cost of you only have 20% damage reduction. So unless you're going into a heavy combat scenario like I like to get into, medium armor is generally what you want to look for. But you got light, and you see here, heavy armor has 40% damage reduction. Let's see if we can find. So here's another example of light armor. And then we come down here. Anyways, you get the idea. But you also have to make sure you have your undersuit as well. So as you go along, you'll discover what suits and that you like. So now what you need to do. You bought your weapons, you bought your armor. You want to equip it. So let's say I want to equip my my sniper rifle. I can click and drag And then the available slots and where they are will be here. And the little blue circles represent how full those magazines are. So if they're empty, which means you have to they have to be replaced. And then if you're not sure what you have, you can zoom in. You just hold over one of your ammo or weapons, and then it'll show you exactly everything that you have on your belt, in what slot. So I don't have a railgun. I'm not going to have a railgun, so I don't need. Seriously, put that into slot 3. So I now have all of my weapons, ammo that I need. And I do a lot of looting, so I make sure I grab all the med pens out of there as I can. I grab all the gel stuff, which I'll show you where you can get those in a moment. For your med gun, it is highly advisable that you have a tractor beam on you, like your handheld one. You don't need the backpack one. You don't need like one of these, but like a handheld tractor beam like this. By default they're yellow like this, and then you need to have a tractor beam attachment. You equip this, and then you drop your tractor beam attachment on it, and when you get a med gun, you want that on your hip as well. I also run with a sidearm, because if I am running a sniper rifle, even with a sight, it can get a little hairy when I'm going. And even then, when I run an LMG, I want to have a sidearm as well, because you never know when you're going to need to flip out because you're in the middle of a run and you're running out of ammo. And you also, they got slots here for grenades, for like flares, that kind of stuff. And again, each armor set has more. Some of the heavy armor sets have more, some of the lighter armor sets have more as well. And then of course, then as with your standard inventory stuff, your personal, it says backpack. So when you have your backpack, that's what you want to do. And then same with your weapons, you want to click and drag them from your inventory, and then there's slots as well. You can see how I could put it on left or right, and it'll show up there. And you want to make sure that you have extra med pens, you have water, that kind of jazz. Okay, so when I get to the system, I'm going to head over to Crusader to do this. Now when I get to a system, I will show you what you're looking for. While any ship will work for bunkers, at least for the law-abiding bunkers anyways, they're the good ones, UAE, the non-criminal controlled ones. Any ship will do. You don't have to have a specific ship. However, if you happen to have a ship that has a medbed, so Cuddy Red, C8R like I have here, has a tier 3 medbed, that will make the world of difference in being able to keep going longer in your mission, so you keep chaining them together. And the reason being, at least in 322, essentially almost every time you get shot at, you won't die, but you will end up with injuries. And they scale from tier 3 to tier 1. Tier 3 being the minimum, meaning like minimal inconvenience. Character might move a little slower if you have a tier 3 leg injury. With chest injury, heartbeat, inability to run. Head, you'll see your view getting all hazy. The arms, your aim might be a little more unsteady. But then as you get into like the tier 2 and tier 1 injuries, suddenly you can't walk. So then you try and crouch, and then if you get a tier 1 leg injury, you can't even crouch. You have to crawl everywhere you go. And likewise, tier 1 arms, your character will start to drop weapons and drop whatever's in their hands. So this is why, if you have resources at your disposal, you can buy the C8R in game for relatively cheap, and that gives you a tier 3 medbed. Cuddy Red as well gives you a tier 3 medbed as well, so there's a couple of cheaper options. Ships like the Carrack and the 890, as of 322, they have a full medbed that could heal everything and respawn. But those are boats of ships, so bear that in mind. Anyways, when we get to Crusader, I will go through some of the different things and just show you roughly how much money you can make off of a basic one, and what that might translate into a little later on in terms of other things you could do, as long as with the do's and don'ts. We're now Crusader. So where do we start with our bunker missions? So we come to our contracts manager, come to our mercenary. First thing we want to do is we want to accept our call to arms, because that gives us money for every individual that we dispatch, ship or otherwise. And so now I want to come down here to back down, shadow down to mercenary. So the reason why I wanted to come to Crusader is because it has the widest variety. Now when you start off, all they're going to start off with is you're going to have to do a contractor. You're going to have to do a contractor assessment, and when you do that, then you'll have these provide backups, and these are the lowest level. They're very easy. They're 15,000 per, but as you go up and proceed through your reputation, you get things like clear criminal nests that are like on a wreck site at Yella. You have the raids on Orison, which are basically like mini versions of the Siege of Orison. If you've ever done that, you go to the platforms, you clear them. They're really good fun to do. I'll probably do a video just on them on their own at some point. But if you have a clear criminal nest and is at a bunker like the Garden, the turrets will shoot at you, because technically the turrets are controlled by Ninetails or whoever the criminals are. But even then, with these like destroy illegal drugs and stuff, the 55k payout may seem like it's good, but you have to pop like 600 boxes in some of them. The lower end are 200, so on and so forth. Last but not least, you have these Ninetails enforcers. They're again repel raids. Clear it, and then a boss comes out, deal with him, and so on and so forth. These here are bugged right now, but generally these are cave missions, or these could be at like a facility as well, where you got to go in and clear an individual person. The cave missions are good because you can clear them, you get usually a little bit better loot out of them, and you can do some hand mining. But for now, we're just going to do a provide backup for 15 grand. And make sure we track it. Okay, so as you approach your target, you'll see it'll switch from like provide backup or guard site against hostiles to something else. Now you want to land. So then now, when you're looking, when you have, as of 322, friendlies are marked with triangles over their heads. If you shoot a friendly, if you happen to just shoot a friendly without killing them, you might get an aggravated assault criminal crime stat, which you can pay off. But otherwise, no, you don't want to be doing that. Second to that, number 1 brings out your sidearm. If you have a sidearm, so a pistol. Number 2 will cycle through your main gun. So if you have multiple on your backpack, it'll cycle through it. 3 is your heavy weapons, like your rail guns, your rocket launchers, that kind of stuff. And 4 is your tractor beam, like I said, and then your med gun. Right? And then, so if you do happen to have a med gun on you, I'll do a separate video on its exact operation, and where to pick it up. But you press 4 to bring it out, and then that'll then allow you to heal somebody else. Or if you press B, you can see yourself and you can heal yourself. Versely, if you have med pens, which are very good for instantaneous combat, press C. And then if you have multiple different kinds, like I have a detox here as well, they'll allow you to pull it out. They're great for healing in combat, but they're single use. So I'll press 2 to bring up my gun. There we go. And as you can so tell, the security's already been kind of taken care of them, but I only have one more security left. So each security, each thing has, the security has different armor and different colors. So don't feel too bad. If you, it's learning, like, which colors are what. So these are part of the medical box. These are medical boxes. So if you were to loot it, this is mostly medical stuff. So like med guns, medical gun, gel or ammunition, various med pens. This is where I'll loot it. You could also loot stuff off bodies as well. But we're gonna clear it first, and then so control. You is crouch. You're virtually silent while you're crouching. You right click to aim down sights, and there are options to change it to a toggle. And left click fires. And if you have multiple fire modes, like on your P4, you can switch fire modes. You just take your time, just roll through it. But if you have a gun that has multiple fire modes, you hit B, and that switches fire modes for you. Perfect example of server desync here. That shouldn't have been like that. Oh, that's an LMG going off. So, no. You see difference in, I like using sniper rifle because I like the big booms, but rapid fire works just as well. That's what I'm going to do here, actually. So now, it's always a good idea. You know, you need ammo off, guys. You can hit F. And then you can always loot ammo and stuff, like for specific weapons you're looking for. Med pens, which is why I have so many, and you can also loot guns off them too. Grab an FS9. I'm gonna grab. It's also a great opportunity if, like, you need to grab like sights off your sights for sights and accessories for your guns. Like I like the one-time sights these guys have. You can sometimes loot, but you can do that. You can sometimes you can get the one times off these. Anyways, we're just gonna drop it. Okay, there's another medical box. And note, the more heavier weapons you have on you, the slower you go. And you want to just run through, see for any red boxes, because those will have like your heavy weapons, your sniper rifles, that kind of stuff. I saw one on the way in, and notice the timer as well. That timer, if you're still here when that goes, the turrets will be in fire you as well. And these boxes here, the unmarked gray boxes, they have things like crypto keys and other stuff like that. Crypto keys, they have knives, they have multi-tools. And it's always a wise idea, if you have a crypto key, just in case you have to clear your thing, always grab them because it's always a good thing to have. And what I'll do is I'll do one more, show you the difference. Between that, but yeah. So these here are what you're going to want to look for as well in bunkers. These will have weapons, they'll have railguns, they'll have... Ooh, speaking of... Perfect. And this is ultimately the holy grail. This is what you want. It's the railguns. Railguns, sniper rifles. So see now how I'm running very slowly? That's because I'm really loaded down now. And then when you're done, whether you're looting bodies, which is another thing you do, you can track beam bodies into your ship, or like me, just because I have so many bodies, just getting things like railguns, you can just drop in local inventory, hop back in your ship, then move on to the next one. Power off. Like I said, we can click and drag. Put an extra magazine of my... There and there, and then because we are from a distance, what I'll do is I'll switch 16 times there. Let's see what I got. So there you have it. A way that, you know, you can get some first-person combat stuff in. I tried to show you a couple of examples of a couple of different kinds of bunkers slash ground missions you can do. There's many more. I'll do individual videos on those if you wish. Be sure to comment down below if you want that. But last but not least, this is just the touch-in, the absolute beginner's guide. There's lots of other little things that could be touched on, but let me know if you want that. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, a follow, and a comment if that so is what you wish. Thanks, everybody. Have yourselves a great day.